Good afternoon. It's that time again. Okay, that works. Always have to check to make sure. Where am I? There I am. How's everybody doing today? Let's see if I can get my comments on. Aha, there we go. New Jersey. Yeah, it's another hot, steamy, gross day in Florida. But yeah, our summer is starting. I wish it was in the 70s, but it's like in the high 90s already. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. All right, well, welcome everyone to Facebook Live Sunday. We made it. Everything's caught up. Well, not project-wise, but surgery's down. Girlfriend's weekend is done, which we had a blast. That was so much fun. I love hanging out with my girls. Now I can get back on track and get really serious back on our group. We're almost to a year. It was in July last year that I started this group, and it has exceeded my expectations. I can't believe it. We have 2,100 members, which I cannot believe. It's so cool to me. Let me do this so I can read your. Just want to make sure I can read your questions, because today we're going to go over twin needle quilting. Today I'm not going to do any embroidery because, why not switch it up a little bit? We will talk about embroidery a little bit, but also I wanted to do a question and answer in case you have any questions about anything. I do have to say, if you have questions about the Meridian or Altair, please ask them. I just can't demo anything on it right now because my Meridian is getting her yearly spa day. She's being serviced, gonna get cleaned and new oiled and all kind of, which I highly suggest if you do embroider a lot or sew a lot. Once a year servicing is great for your machine. Think of it as your car. You want to get all those dust bunnies out and you want to get it oiled and cleaned and have your technician take a good look at it, make sure nothing's going wrong, especially having them look at your bobbin case, because I don't think that many people know this, but one of the most important parts of your machine is your bobbin case. And that's the little thing that holds your bobbin, and you can pull it out and take a look at it. But the thing about that is, if a needle happens to break, let's say in your machine, and that needle for some reason hits the bobbin case, it can create what we call a burr. And I like to always have mine checked. I can tell if I have one. However, I still like the technician to go ahead and take a look at it, just to make sure there's no burrs or anything, because what can happen is you can get skipped stitches. Also, you could have a weird tension problem, and that's all it is maybe there's a burr on your hook. We see that quite often at the shop, and it's an easy fix. So I like them to go through my whole machine and just make sure it's happy and healthy.
So that's just something that I love to suggest. I am gung ho about getting your machine serviced. I see we see machines who have never been serviced and they're 25 years old. So that means that not a drop of oil has been in there for that long. And yeah, you notice a huge difference after it's serviced. You're like, wow, this thing works like a well-oiled machine. So, okay, there's my spiel. I'm just waiting for everybody to get on. Okay, so well, let's talk today. Let's talk about something fun. If you're not a quilter, maybe you can use this technique to make pillows or to, I don't know, some kitchen stuff like um, pot holders or whatever. But twin needle quilting is basically what it is, what it sounds like. It's using a twin needle to quilt. You can take and do this to any of your quilts and make it look super cool, like you've really worked hard, like you've done a double line and you've went back. I mean, it's just I don't use, I'm not a garment maker, so I always try to figure out what I can do different with different things that we have, and a twin needle is one of those different things that we have out in sewing. And I'll give you a better picture of this, but you can kind of see right there my twin needle quilting, and it's just taking two threads, running it through my machine and running it through the double needle, and you can see that it creates a great effect. Now when I put it on actual camera, you're going to see the texture of it. That's what you can kind of see it when I do this. That's the cool thing about it. It adds a really cool texture to it because you have that batting in there and it's making it pop in between the two lines, which is super cool. Now, I don't have any of my quilts that have or projects that have twin needle quilting. I don't know where anything is because did I prepare? No. Okay. But let me flip it over to the back because most people are like, well, what is it going to look like on the back? It looks kind of weird, but kind of cool at the same time. And again, I'll show this up close on camera, but you can see that it creates this weird look on the back, but it actually looks really cool. Now you can do it in tight rows. You can do it in loose rows. Now your twin needle, you can also do, depending on your machine, if it allows you, you can use it to do some decorative stitches, twin needles, so they're like shadowed, which is super cool. One of my favorite ones that I'm going to demo is using a serpentine stitch, and the serpentine stitch is just the S stitch. And you can quilt if you're ever quilting, try quilting with the wave or S or serpentine stitch. It looks really super cool. And when you cross hatch it like this, it looks even cooler. But you can do it with a double needle, which looks beautiful. So that's kind of something I'm going to show you today. The other thing is I thought we would do a question and answer session in case you just have any questions that are burning out there that you would like to ask. It can be about anything. It doesn't have to be about quilting. It can be about embroidery and all that. Now, if you're a new member, please, thank you. Welcome to the group. Okay, I wasn't prepared for that, but hey, so if you're a new member, welcome to the group. I hope you're enjoying it so far. We have videos, we have giveaways, we have a little bit of everything in this group. A lot of my group, we do talk about embroidery, some sewing, and guys, this Wednesday night is going to be a foot fetish. So excited. I don't know what foot I'm going to do yet, but I'm sure I'll pull something out. Someone had asked also if I could go over the bridging plate. I finally got one in, so I'll be playing with that. I don't know if that's what we'll be doing this Wednesday night, but something pretty cool, you know, to look forward to. And if you're new to the group, I only do those every other Wednesday, and it's just something to learn about feet. I am a baby lock educator, so everything I do is on a baby lock. However, maybe you can take some of this information. If you do not have a baby lock machine, you can take some of this information to your machine and use it towards that. So don't get discouraged because you can still learn from any of the videos that we do. All right, so I don't see any questions so far. Let me see. Lots of hellos. Hello, 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 everyone. Mickey, you're so funny. You get cold, then you get hot, and then you got to thaw out, right? I know. It's like, well, what's really weird about Florida is you use your AC almost all the time. We turn on the heater a little bit when it gets cold, but mostly you're using the AC almost all year round. It's ridiculous. And it's always amazed me that some people probably up north or in different areas of the country, they don't even have ACs. And I'm like, how could you live? Oh, you know, but I got to remember where I live. I live in a depression in Florida, which means all the humidity sits down and tackles my hair. Okay. Oh, Karen, welcome. A newbie here. Yay. Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm also, besides just showing you how to sew it out, I am going to talk about the threading when it comes to twin needle quilting. Doesn't matter what sewing machine you're using. Doesn't matter what brand. It's, you're just going to want to kind of follow a couple rules there. Yeah, Diane, girl, I know. It feels like 150, doesn't it? Yeah, Jason and I were out and about today and we were both like, we're not ready for this. So I'm also going to talk about threading and all that. So let's jump over to the cameras and we are going to play a little bit. What I have ready is a quilt sandwich. So just basically 2 pieces of cotton and a piece of batting in the middle. So we can kind of use that as our base fabric. Now, of course, you can do this with any quilt. You can even do this technique if you are using a quilt with different types of fabric. Let's say Dupioni silk, which is one of my favorite other fabrics out there. Dupioni is really beautiful, but it's strong. And you can put it in quilts and it looks super cool because it's shiny and it looks expensive. Okay, it is expensive, so I don't get it a lot, but it is so gorgeous. So what I'm going to do is jump up, and I'm going to be jumping back and forth between 2 cameras. Yes, guys, I'm going to do 2 cameras today, so bear with me. You know how this goes usually. It's usually a circus, but hey, I get my point across. So let's first jump over to this camera. And all you can see is the top of the machine there. Let me make sure I don't choke myself turning around here with I need to invest in the wireless microphone. Okay, so I'm just going to bring you right down here because I'm going to show you a couple things. If you've never used, I've already lost my sample. If you've ever used a twin needle, then this will be a little bit of a catch-up session for you. If you've never used a twin needle, let's talk about that because they can be really super fun to play with. Now, I have mine right here. I just happen to have a Schmetz one, which I love Schmetz. I love it all. I love Class A. I love them all. Now, this is a twin needle. I mean, yeah, that's exciting, right? It's just 2 different needles right there. They are connected to a shank of the needle that goes up into your machine. So you don't have to physically put 2 needles in. You're just going to use this one that has 2 needles on it. And the thing about the twin needles are, this is a universal one, so I can use it for, almost anything. They do come in different sizes. And if we look at the packaging here, what you will notice is sometimes, here, let me just use my scissors. See if you can see that on screen. You can. You'll see this number right before a slash and another number. Now, this one is a 4.0. This one is my favorite to use. It's one of the bigger ones. And what that means is that is the width between the 2 needles. Now, it goes all the way down to, I think, 1.6, which is tiny, which means these 2 needles are really close to each other. I know you can get them wider, but my preferred one is to use a 4.0. Now, there's going to be a question out there, can I use this in embroidery? And I was testing that out today to see if it can do it. And I broke 3 of these trying to do the embroidery. And what I think is wrong is I think my width is too large right here, that it's hitting something and breaking. So I'm going to test that out for you guys. I don't want you to test it out on your machines because I don't want you to run your machine and I would feel so bad. So I'm going to get a 3.0 and a 2.0 to see if we can actually use that for embroidery, because I think that would be super cool. Actually, I did start one and it kept breaking, but you can see what it was doing was making it look super cool. Can you see that? That's twin needle. However, I was having a little bit of issues, so I'm going to try a smaller width. So maybe like a 3.0 or something like that, or maybe a 2.0. So I'll let you guys know. Let me test it out for you, because I am lucky enough to have technicians super handy to me that will fix my machine quickly. But really, really, really fun. So here is the little sample that I was showing you earlier. Now you can kind of see that there's a little bit of texture. Now let me hold it up and you can kind of see that texture now. Isn't that pretty? It just creates a great texture. Now you can do, of course, straight line quilting. I'm not sure if free motion, I do not do free motion. So I'm not sure if free motion quilting would actually work with a twin needle. It's something you can try. I would just go really slow. But you're going to have this really great effect. And that's what I was going to show you is I've got my piece of fabric and I'm ready to go. Now you just place your needle in just like you would any other needle here. So let me show you. So the majority, I'm going to say about 99% of the machines use a flat back needle. So the needle is flat on the back. I'm going to drop my foot. Accidentally hit the cutter, not the right button, but I'm going to drop my foot just to get it out of the way. And I'm going to slide it in and make sure that it's all the way up. I mean, I push that sucker. I hold it into place. Excuse me if I'm sniffling. Again, allergy. And I always take my tool, this is the multi-purpose tool, and tighten it in there a little bit more because I do not want that needle falling regardless. So make sure when you're putting your needle in, you finger tighten it, but you always use your little tool to tighten it just a little bit more. I am going to use my digital dual feed because I am using a quilt sandwich. Now, a walking foot works great with this. Any foot works great with this as long as it has a large opening. Especially if you're going to do a zigzag or a serpentine stitch. Remember, things are going to move and you don't want a single hole because you're going to break a needle, period. Now, the other thing that I wanted to show you is how to thread your machine for this. So since this is new for me, what I'm going to do is have a second camera. I'm just moving it into place so you don't get sick when I go to turn it on. So you may have to just bear with me to get it into place. And let's see. I feel like I am just getting up with the 21st century here. And look, it's me. See, I did it wrong already. So I need to turn around. Whee, there we go. Okay, so I've already done it wrong. Okay, there we go. Now there's my machine. Now I have it in the right spot here. Oh, and I can zoom in and stuff. How cool is that? Let's see if I can bring it down a little bit because that's a little high, isn't it? Okay, there we go. And let's move this other camera out the way because really all I need to show you is this upper part right here. I'm going to turn on another light just so we have some. Is that a little bright? That's good. And I might bring over a little bit extra light here just so we can kind of have some light on the machine. Okay. So when you go to thread your machine for a double needle, and this is, I know this is kind of like, you're like, whoa, she's way far away from the machine, but it's easier to show you kind of farther away. Now, depending on the machine you have, be it a baby log, be it a Bernina, a Husqvarna, or whatever, you may have Now on the baby locks, we don't have this, but I do know on Bernina machines, you have a little bitty thing that's right up here when you go to thread your machine, and it's like a little plate. And the thing about that is that means if you have a little plate right here and you want to do twin needle quilting, you put one thread on one side of the plate and you put the other thread on the other side of the plate. And that's generally going to be up in this area right here. And let me kind of zoom in so I can show you. It's over here. Generally going to be in this area right here. Now for baby locks, where it's a little easier, we don't have to worry about that. And actually, it's not even easier because that's super easy to do. But what you need, first off, is 2 thread colors. And I'm actually going to use some embroidery thread because it's pretty and shiny, and you can use that for your decorative stitches. So why not use it for your quilting? So I've got an orange up here and I've got a pink down here. Now, if you have a thread stand, you can put both colors back here, or you can put one color in your normal thread spool, or one up here, however you want to do it. This worked great for me earlier, so I'm going to do that. Now, if you do not have a thread stand, you're just going to use your normal thread spool holder right here, and then your secondary one. Depending on the machine that you have, you could have one that's lays horizontal, or you may have one that is a vertical. So you're going to put both of those threads, go ahead and get them ready. What I like to do first is always to thread the one that is my traditional spool, okay? So the one that we always use. So I always thread that one first. I do not bring the threads together because they can stick together and twist. So I'm going to take my first one, which is my traditional one, and I'm just going to thread my machine. And I'll get it back. I'm not going to thread my needle yet because I want to do that on camera. Now this first thread, which may be a little hard to see, I'm going to lay it off to the left. So I've got a long, super long tail, and I'm going to push it all the way to the left. And that's just the way I do it. It keeps it out of the way, and that way I can keep them separated. The next one I'm going to grab, which is my orange thread right here, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to thread it, normal path, and then I'm going to get it back behind our little thread holder that's always on the bottom there, and I'm going to push it or pull it off to the right. So it's that easy to thread your machine for that. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is we're going to get back down on the camera that is on the machine, and we're going to talk about threading that way. So see, this didn't work so bad. Kind of worked okay. Of course, I always get nervous, guys. I'm like, oh, good Lord. They're going to think I'm an idiot when working these things, and I kind of am, but that's okay. All right, so I am back to hello, Birdie. Thank you, Denise. Thanks for the feeling better thing. I appreciate that. I am feeling much better. Okay, so now let's get a little bit closer and kind of down to that needle so we can see what we're doing really good here. Okay, that looks good. All right, so I have my 2 threads right here. Remember, this was the first one that I put in that is on my normal horizontal spool holder. The second one was the second one I threaded to, which is on the secondary spool holder. And I'm going to take the pink one now. Now, couple rules, and I know it's so obvious, but I do have to say it because I know you guys would never do this. But you cannot use your needle threader. So we're just going to thread our needle. Now, what I do is if I have to ever thread a needle, I put my finger back here so I can see the eye of the needle because, you know, sometimes it's really hard to see. Oh, I'm going to drop my foot. It's best to drop your foot before you hand thread the needle. Okay, so I'm going to put it back there so I can see the eye of the needle. Just push that little puppy through and pull it through. Ta-da! Now for the orange thread, I'm going to cut some of that off. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to come here, like put my finger back there, get it threaded, and there we go. There we go. Now they're both threaded. Now I can bring them together. I'm going to raise the foot, bring them together, and just pull them to the back. Done. It's that easy. Super easy. And then I just go to quilt. You know, I can just do my regular quilting. However, depending on your machine, you may need to tell your machine that your twin needle is on. And of course, on the baby locks, we really should go ahead and do that because that's going to save us a little bit of heartache and a little bit of, what do you call it? It's just safer for your machine. So what I'm going to do, depending on, yours is going to be wherever yours is, depending on which machine you have. Now I'm on the Solaris. So where I tell it to turn into a twin needle is right up here in this little, I guess, little edit area. So I'm going to tap on that, and then I'm going to come down here and look for an icon that has a single needle and then a double needle. Right now, my single needle is highlighted, so that means that is the selection I have. However, I want to tap it so I see two lines show up on my screen. That means I use, I have the double needle selected. So that's all I have to do. Now, there was a quick question. When you have a thread stand, do you thread the right first and then the left? If I were to use both of, because this one has a double thread stand, if I were using both my threads up there, I would probably thread the left first and then the right. You couldn't do this on an embroidery machine, only machine. Mindy, I am testing that out. I tried it earlier with this one, but I think the needle width was too big because I'm using a 4.0. So I need to get some smaller twin needles to test it out. I kept breaking. I broke 3 of them right in a row. So let me test that out for you before you guys test it out. Just so, you know, like I was saying earlier that, you know, I can quickly get my machine fixed and I don't want y'all to break your machines from something I say. So let me test it out first. But I want to so bad. I want to use my twin needle for embroidery so bad because I think it'd be so cool. Okay, so I have got my twin needle on. Now, depending on, again, what machine you have, you may have a little laser that we could put on. You're going to choose your stitch. Now, I'm using the digital dual feed foot that plugs into the back of the machine. You may be using a walking foot, which is fine. But my digital dual feed is going to tell me what stitches I cannot use with the twin needle. So let's see if you can see. Yeah, you can see it on screen. So if I'm looking through my stitches here, you're going to see number 14. It looks a little grayed out. That's telling me if I tap on that, it's going to say, you can't use that. So this is actually a lifesaver. Now, if I went to, let's say, decorative stitches, it's going to say, hey, you can't use the twin needle with the digital dual feed in twin needle mode. But there are some that if I go up to this little guy right here, number 3. Let me tap on it. See how a lot of them are grayed out, but a couple of them are not? See, it's just, what it's doing is it's trying to save you from having heartache when you're doing this. But we could do this one as a double needle or twin needle. Now, remember earlier I was talking about the S stitch that we can do, but we're going to do a straight stitch first and then we'll jump into the fun stitches. So I'm just going to do a simple needle straight stitch and let's just walk. And I'm going to give you a couple tips on this. Okay. There we go. We're going to get some ugly light in there, but you can see it much better when we do that. Okay. Now, when I go to twin needle quilt, just like regular quilting, I have some lines drawn, and I'm just going to go down one line here for you guys to show you how it works. Now, I do like to have some long tails. That's just me. And I'm going to start at wherever I've drawn my lines, drop my foot and just stitch. And my bobbin is just a regular, actually, since I'm using the embroidery thread, I think I have like embroidery bobbin thread in the bottom. I think I do. I may not have changed it, but details, right? Okay, so I'm just going to do this one line here and show you. Now, the other thing I'm not going to do is I'm not going to use my cutter just because I do not want the thread to pop out of the needles just because I'm lazy. Now, you can use the cutter, but it is safer not to. So I'm just going to take and pull this out and just use my thread cutter on the side of my machine. Maybe, there we go. And there we go. My first twin needle stitch right there. Pull those to the back, and then I can just go about my business. Now, if you were going to do a crosshatch like this, what I like to do is I'll go and stitch this part first and then this one. And then I'll think about how far away I want these to be, or my lines to be. Now, with the machine that I have, and with a lot of the machines that you guys have, you may have the guide beam. So looks a little funny on the screen, but you can see this line right here. And you can move that line anywhere you want. So I can take this line, and I don't know how far over I have it. I have it, about an inch or a little more than an inch over from the center of the needle. And I'm going to lay that line on, let's say, this second line right here, or the second stitch line. And I'm just going to use that laser, I call it a laser, but that's that line right there to guide me so I don't have to put a guide on my foot. So again, let me hold it in place and you can see I'm using this line right here to stitch however far away I want. So that way I know each time I stitch, the lines are going to be exactly that far apart. Okay, lift my needle because I'm not going to use my cutter. Cut, and there we go. Pretty, huh? Now I'm gonna just do one more so you can see that they're exactly that far apart. However far, I didn't measure it. I just kind of put it where I wanted it. And again, I just have that line sitting on this second stitch line right here. Get you out the way. Get my fingers in there. There we go. And there we go. So I have some pretty little stitch lines there. Now, if I were going to do a crosshatch like this, let me turn that light off. If I were going to do a crosshatch like this, what I would do is continue to stitch one motion this way, or I'd keep going this way. Then I would come back to this side. We always start in the middle and then work our way out. Then I would come and stitch this way, and then I could turn it, and let's say I will stitch down this one and work my way out from that line again, and then work it out from this side. So that creates a pretty little crosshatch. Can you do it straightwise? Of course, you can do whatever you want. This is your baby, right? But let's show you the serpentine stitch because it does look really beautiful with a double needle and two different color threads. So I'm going to go and find my oops, that's not what I wanted. Find my serpentine stitch. That's just what I call it. You might call it an S stitch or a wave stitch. And so I've got that set now, and I'm not going to change anything on it. I'm just going to stitch it at what it's at right now, which the length is 1 and the width is 5. Now I'm going to change it up, and you can kind of see what it looks like as it gets longer or bigger. But this is a teensy one. And it's super cute. Now, do you have to do this in just quilting? No. Let's just say you wanted to use this as a decorative stitch on a collar or something. You don't have to quilt. I just like to use it in quilting because it looks super cool. Okay, I'm gonna raise my needle, raise my foot, and then cut, and then we can take a look at it. Ah, how adorable. It almost looks like rickrack, doesn't it? It's adorable. Okay, let me see. You're stitching the lines going in the same direction from the same side. Is there a reason for that? Well, Diane, when you quilt, you always start in the middle. I think this is what you're asking. You always start in the middle and you work your way out to here. Then what I would do is turn the fabric and I would work my way out from the other side. And then I could do it for the other crosshatch. I think that's what you're asking, but if not, let me know. Let's see. I bought some Schmetz double eye needles, tried them on my crescendo, made some really pretty decorative stitch. I have not tried them on the Meridian yet. Now the Meridian, Mindy, you know, is embroidery. So let me test that out for you. Again, I tried to test it out earlier and I got pretty far, as you can see right here. But it started breaking in one area. And I think, because, you know, trial and error, that's what I do, is I think I need to get a smaller width one. So this is a 4.0. I think there's well, I know there's a 3.0 and a 2.0. So I want to try those next. So yeah, let's see. Not what I was asking. Well, you're stitching the lines going the direction from the same side. There. Diane, I don't know if I understand the question. Maybe, hey, you know, come up to the shop and we can work on that. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make this a little bit longer and a little bit wider. So I'm going to take my length, and I'm just doing that as your normal length. And let's get that a little bit wider to make it have a little bit more of a wave, but maybe a little bit longer. So I'm just using my width and my length, just like you would with a straight stitch. And number one, you're going to see it go quicker. It's making a little noise, which is kind of funny. Almost sounds like dripping water. I don't know what it is, but it's kind of funny. Okay. I'm going to raise my needle, raise my foot, cut my thread that does not want to be cut. And there you go. So you can see the difference now. Now, again, if you did this and cross-hatched it, it is so stinking cute. It really has a cute effect to it. So you can see right there. Now let's try one more. We'll just do one more. I'm going to leave the width as it is and take my length up to 4. This one was at 2. This was 1, 2, and now we're going to go to 4. And let's see what happens with this. I wish y'all could hear the noise it's making. It's kind of funny. I mean, it's not scaring me at all, but okay. Now take a look at that gorgeous wave now. How pretty is that? So you can really have a lot of fun, especially if maybe you're doing a nautical quilt and you need some waves. You can do a double wave with a light blue and a dark blue. Oh, that would be gorgeous. You're not flipping the frown to do the next line. You're pulling the fabric back so you can stitch from the same side. Oh, yeah. No, yeah, Diane, I see what you're saying. No, I'm not. I never really do that. I know that's kind of a rule of thumb, so I get what you're asking now. Okay, so what Diane's saying is, hey, you stitched down this line right here, and then you went here. But you didn't flip your fabric around to go here because you're supposed to sew in pairs. No, I'm lazy, Diane. I just normally will go boom, 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 boom. And that's just from laziness. That is not from anything, you know, like there's a specific reason why. I get what you're saying now, yeah. You know, I only do pairs when I'm doing stuff like French tucks or not French tucks, excuse me, like folded tucks or anything like that, because it's really important you do that and that. But again, remember, I'm kind of a good enough sewer. You know, because far away it looks great. Okay, so super beautiful right here, right? Now, can you see yourself using that? I mean, I just think it's so cool. Now let me pick a stitch that it's another stitch, maybe a decorative or something like that, that it'll allow me to use with my twin needle. Now that's a little dark, so let's brighten you up a little bit. Let's see here. What else have I got that I can play with? I think I will do this little scallop satin stitch, and let's take a look at it, which with the orange and pink, I think will be quite pretty. So let's get that back down, and let's go to this side so we have a little bit of. I'm just going to start it there and just let it do its thing. Now this might take a moment, you know, it's working hard. And while we're doing that, I'll check, make sure there's no questions. I am taking my eye off the prize, so if it gets a little wonky, that's because I'm checking for questions. Okay, there we go. Now again, if you select the twin needle mode in your machine, it's not going to let you do certain stitches, and there's a reason for that. If you don't select it and you do some certain stitches, you might get some needle breakage. So it's better to be safe than sorry. It's always better to be safe than sorry when it comes to your machines. All right, so I'm going to just stop right there, lift my needles. And there we go. Oh, look how pretty this is, guys. Oh, isn't that lovely? I love that. That is so cute. So maybe like some hot holders or something like that. You can do some really pretty decoratives like that. So that's really pretty. So in a nutshell, I know this is pretty quick, but in a nutshell, that's all you have to do for twin needle quilting. It's like so easy, and it's super easy. Now let's take a look at the back just so we can see the difference, because you really couldn't see it there. Okay, this is what they're going to look like on the back. Now I used a white thread in the bobbin, so you could use a matching thread, doesn't really matter. But okay, so this one, which one is that? This is the large serpentine. We'll call this the medium serpentine, the tight one that almost looks like rickrack. And here's my straight lines right here. And then this is my scallop stitch right here. So you can see that, I mean, you could have a lot of fun with this, especially with different colors and just doing some beautiful, fun things with it. So spice up your quilts or your projects when you're sewing with that. Now, some of you are going, you know what? I'm just going to use my IQ designer to do that. Totally. But let me get you flipped back to me. Hopefully it's not a complete mess. Here we go. Integrated. There we go. Oh, whoa. What's getting us here? There we go. Okay. But you know, sometimes it's fun to switch over to your sewing machine and just have fun sewing. I love it. Like I taught a class yesterday and all we did was sew. We did paper piecing. It was so much fun. And it's just, you know, it's nice to sew every now and then. You know I love to do embroidery, but I love to sew. You feel accomplished either way, right? Okay, let me can you adjust the stitch width too wide and cause the needle to break? Good question. Now, if you select the twin needle button on your machine, it's not going to let you go too far or too wide. If you forget to, that may happen. You may go too far and you break a needle, or one of the two. So that's a really, really, thanks, Diane. It's always fun when you're in class with me. Okay, so that's kind of what I got for you today, that wise. Now let's talk about question and answer. Anybody? And while you're thinking about questions to ask, I'm going to show you something that I think would behoove all of us to do tomorrow evening at, I believe it's 7 p.m. Eastern on Hope Yoder's group. She's doing a stabilizer class, and she's the queen of embroidery. I do say that because I learned a lot from her. She knows what she's talking about, especially when it comes to stabilizers. And let me show you on my group, there is a way to get to it. I always forget how to do this. There we go. There we go. Oops. So if we go to the group page, so I'm going to jump out here and go to the group page. What you're going to do is just scroll down a little bit. You're just going to scroll, 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 and you'll go through a couple posts, and even this gorgeous hummingbird picture, Diane, I love it. And you're going to get to where it says Hope made a post yesterday, and you're going to see something that says Stabilizer Truth Bomb. And if you're an embroiderer, I suggest watching this. This is, like I said, she knows what she's talking about. So the first thing you need to do is when you scroll up and you look at this, this post right here, you're going to click on this link right here where it says this Facebook group right here. Now you do have to ask to join. I'm already a member. So first it's going to do is ask you to join. Make sure you answer all the questions so she knows you're an embroiderer, and she'll let you in. And then just like you did today at 7 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, her video will pop up as a live, and it's free, and she's going to give you all kind of great information. So you can scroll down on her page, Designs by Hope Yoder, and you will see her Crafting with Hope Stabilizer Truth Bomb. It's going to be, it says Monday, June 14th at 7 p.m. Eastern. So I highly suggest watching that because you are going to learn a lot about stabilizers and some really great tips about embroidery. She really knows what she's talking about. Yes, Ernestine, yeah, at 7 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, just like you did today. The video is going to show up and you just start watching. Oh, thank you, Marge and Ronnie. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing here. So, okay, let's see if there's any questions. Let's check here. Thank you, guys. And it can be a question about anything. Embroidery, sewing, life, whatever you want to talk about. I'll give you guys a few moments. I'm just waiting. Okay, while we're waiting for that, I will announce that I finally got some USB sticks back in. So if you want a USB stick, just send me an email to foreverbblouise@gmail.com, and I'll tell you all the information about that that you need to know about the USB sticks. Of course, I only have so many available, but the last 3 batches, you guys wiped me out, which was really cool. Thank you. It's a lot of fun. I've got a couple other things in the works too that so some really cute things that Hope helped me with because she makes a lot of cool things and all that. Any chance you have the winning Powerball numbers? Let's see. 2, 32, 4. How many numbers do you need? I'm just gonna pull numbers out of the air. 96, 7, 21. You know what? That would be so fun if I could really, really do that, Joe. I love that. That's a great question. Oh, that's weird, Mickey. I'm not sure. Interesting why that's happened. Yay, Mindy. Joe, if you use those numbers and you win, you got to let me know because I just want to know. I just want to know how good I am at picking numbers. Do you think my Altair needs to go to the shop when the thread breaks about every 10 to 20 stitches all the time? I would definitely talk to your dealer about that if you're having that happen. I don't know what's wrong with it, but if you're stitching and your thread is snapping, something weird could be going on. So yeah, I would just take it up there and let them know that that's happening so they can take a look at that. Yeah, I totally would. Totally. Because it should not be doing that. And you should be having fun with your machine and no frustration. So yeah, yeah, talk to your dealer. Mm-hmm. Oh, Sylvia, right now I had the teal ones sent in, so I think you've already it's sent out last week. So I don't know. The only color I will not buy, and I'm a weirdo, guys, is red. I do not like the color red. But maybe I'll do a poll. I'll look at the other colors and see. We did the green, we did the teal, maybe a purple. I like purple. They don't have a pink, which is really weird. Yeah. So because I love pink. That pink is my favorite color. So yeah, Ernestine. Yeah, just bring it up there. I'm sure they'll be glad to help you with that. Okay, well, I don't have any pressing questions, but I want to thank you guys all again so much for the past year. We'll do something fun in July. I do have an idea for a class coming up. So I kind of got behind on the classes just because I had so much going on. And but I do appreciate your patience and I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you so much for joining me every week. This Wednesday will be Foot Fetish. It'll be at 8 p.m. Eastern. Same place, same time, and or same place, different time. And maybe y'all can let me know what foot you'd like to see. That would be cool. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your Sunday. Thank you so much for joining in. Remember to always shop local, shop small. I'm just going to see. Would you teach us how to use a circular? Ooh, Sylvia, that's a good one. Maybe we'll do. Love it because I love using the circular attachment. So maybe that's what we'll do on Wednesday. Absolutely, because I love, 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 love that one. Okay, cool. All right, you made my decision for me. That was easy. All right. Well, I can't put those on. I need to see. I hope you guys have a great weekend or into your weekend and a great week. And I will see y'all very soon. Have a good one. Thank you guys so, so very much. And there's my button. Bye, guys.